Hi guys, this is Michael from the Board Games Chronicle. Today I have for you another interesting game about the US Civil War. A game from by the Stefan Paul and from Strategemata, a Polish publisher. The game is a full measure of devotion about the Gettysburg Campaign of 1863. It will follow some of the mechanics and design solutions which we saw in other games by Mr. Stefan Paul and also published from this publisher, and we shall see how they are being introduced in the strategic level campaign of Gettysburg. It's strategic level campaign. It's not like just 3 days of battle. It's the whole campaign of 1863. Which is called Gettysburg campaign, but of course it was much more than this, and that game will try to depict it. The game is packed in a small, nice, box. At the back we have the preview of the map, some information about the game, also about the counters used. And when you look at the counters, you will see that they are similar, for example, to I don't know how the Union was saved, which I was also presenting to you on this channel. This is not a complex game, by no way. It's even called in the instruction beer and pretzel, and it has low solitaire suitability because you have hidden forces, hidden strengths of the forces. Although honestly, between me and you, it's not a problem for me to play such a game even with a full knowledge of what is behind the screens and simply simulating the game. So what we'll do today, we'll look into the box, we'll see through the components, we'll talk a bit about the game mechanics so you have a flavor how it plays, and hopefully create some interest also. So let us open the box. Okay, and let me approach it from this side. So where to start? Let me put this for a moment. Yeah, so these are the standees for the generals and generals. Let me start with the rulebook. Rulebook is not overly long. I believe it has like maximum 10 pages. I'm always checking. Yeah, 10 pages, special rules, command. Yeah, 10 pages of the rules. So this is not much. We have paper rule book, not glossy, so it's really easy to read, which I really like. It really helps you to quickly read even in the evening, and my eyes really appreciate it. We have information about the forces, commanders, game setup, and so on. Then we'll have also about the sequence of play. There will be always turns of weather, attrition, supply, movement, combat, and commander movement. There will be very interesting system of initial orders and delayed orders, and this we'll see in a moment in the rule book. Yeah, here it will be movement and combat. Exactly. We will be giving 3 types of orders to our forces. The brigade, it's loosely called brigades because honestly this is just abbreviation for the forces we had there. And at the beginning of the game, each of the forces which start the game will have some hidden initial order where they have to march. And then during the game, you will be able to give them orders or the delayed orders, depending on how far the force from the commander will be. If it's close to it, they can give an order. If it's, medium length from them, they will give an order which is delayed by 1 turn. And if they are far away, the order will be delayed by 2 turns. During those turns, they will be still fulfilling the initial order and automatically at the full speed trying to approach this order which we gave at the beginning of the game, and only then during the game when they get the order we will be able to influence their movement. So guys, like it was during those times, 19th century, the commander starts the battle, every force has its goal, they move automatically towards those goals. They don't make decisions, oh, it's not a good idea to move forward. They simply move. And if you want to adjust their movement, and if you want to interfere with the initial order, you need to be, of course, general commander, and you need to be close enough to be able to give this order. If you are far away, before the order reaches, they will execute already part of the plan. So this is really cool mechanics, and we'll see in the components how is it being introduced. We have also information, I believe after movement we will have combat. Yeah, there is a combat mechanics. We have brigades which will have, strength depending on which side they are faced up. And this is just like a blocks, but with a counters, we have combat. And some command their movement and specials, and that's all. Designer notes and so on. The victory conditions I would like to show you on the map. It will be much easier to show it on the map. I believe picture is worth 1,000 words, so we will do it. We will do it that way. Now we have an extended example of play, which I really appreciate, because when you read the rules, as with all the Wargames rules, almost all the Wargames rules, they are a bit dry. So you would like to see them actually put into the use. So you can see the setup on the map with the forces, and then you have those hidden forces behind the screens of both sides. And this example of play nicely shows how you give the orders, how you execute the orders, and then how you do the battle. So I believe this is really good that they added it here. Really appreciate it. Now, those standees are used for the forces. Now I can show you those. So we have a standee. We apply the sticker from both sides, so both players can see on the map which unit it is, and here are the A, B, C, D, and so on forces. And you take the general. Only the most senior general will be presented. So let me take one of the Union generals whom we have. We have Hooker. You apply him here. Then you apply, of course, the force name, and on the map you will have simply them, as a force, and you will not see exactly what's their strength, and we've applied, numbers. Here we have also standees for the screens. Yep, I will show you in a moment how to set them up. And yeah, we have even more generals. Both sides, I believe 5-star is general, the overall commander, then you have brigade commander, and with a 2-star is division commander, which is just like any commander. So this will be the standees, this will be the stickers. Here we have the initial order, so each of the forces at the beginning of a game is being given an order. The Union has like 8 forces, and the Confederates have like 5 forces, and you give them the order where they should head to. Of course, in the setup, which is also nicely put on the map, you will see where they are and what you would like to achieve with them. And this usually town or city which will be put here, you will then automatically try to reach. This is what I told you. You give the order to your forces and they automatically start to move unless they lose the battle, fulfill this order or there are couple of other conditions when they stop to do this automatic order. I'm just looking if I have them handy. No, I don't have them handy, but sufficient to say if they reach the target, if they lose the battle, if they are being given order by the general commander, then you can adjust their initial order. So at the beginning of the time you give an order, and you can see for each of the games you have different set of orders. Of course, those are hidden from your opponent. Those are hidden, and you need to trust your opponent, of course, when you play to fulfill it nicely. Now, as for the screens which will be used, it's important that we have two sets of them. Why we have two sets of them and they have player aids? Because when they were initially printed, it seemed that they were not thick enough to be held here. So what Adam, who is the owner of Strategemata, did is they published them once again, proper thick ones. And with the proper thick ones, you can nicely apply this. Let me do it. Okay. And this is thick enough to simply stand. Yep. And with those not thick enough, you will be using them simply as a player aid. I believe this is a good solution, and I'm really glad that they left also those misprinted ones. But misprinted, I don't mean the wrong information here, but they are not thick enough to stand like the screen. Yeah. So this is, I believe, a good solution. What else do we have? We have the counters, the actual counters. So here we would have the units of the Union, so the infantry, cavalry, artillery. Here you have the Confederates, the infantry, cavalry, and some artillery. You will have, because both sides will have different way of getting the resources. The Union was mainly focused on using of supply depots, while the Confederates were pillaging the land. Yeah, they were living off the land. One thing which you will immediately see is this is not a very counter-intense game, as you can see. The number of brigades in forces is much smaller than in other games. Even if you take into account that there are some additional here, it's not very counter-intense, and a lot of stuff is here like baggage trains which will be used by the Confederates, which they will be moving south, or fatigue markers or order markers. Only I would say one counter sheet is the actual brigade. So I would like to show the map now to you for the two reasons. One is to present it, of course, but the other is also to discuss the setup, the victory conditions, all of this stuff which is important when discussing the game. So this is the map. Let me show you as much of this as I can. Map is nicely done. Colorful but readable. And what do we have here? First of all, maybe let me show you from the top. So this is the map of the Gettysburg campaign, and let me show you some important, areas. Here is the Potomac River. Here we have Washington. Here we have Baltimore. We will have Gettysburg here. Yeah. So this is the Gettysburg, where the major battle of this campaign was fought, of course. Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, Spotsylvania, other important battles of the previous year. So, a couple of things here. Here we have a setup of one of the sides. I believe here is the Union setup, and here at the bottom we have the Confederate setup, and it also shows where each side is sitting. We have a general track on which we will be tracking how many units were destroyed, what turn it is, what weather it is, and commander bonus track, because during the activation we will be using the commanders. To the left we will have all the forces with the screen here, that way. Yeah, you can see. You put the screen here, and this conceals, at least to some extent, the units of both sides. What else I would like to draw your attention to? Maybe a bit about supply. First of all, here is the Potomac, and the units of the Confederates, which are south of Potomac, they automatically have supply, and you can see the directions. North is of course that way, and the Confederates are coming from this side. And if they are north of the Potomac, there is a rule, I believe they need to be like 6 hexes from the supply in order to be in supply. For the Union Army, they have slightly different system of supplies. They will be using the depots, and even during the setup, I believe they have it already here marked that they have depots. Now, how to win the game? I believe this is one of the most important questions. There is a couple of ways to win it automatically, and otherwise the game will finish after the 18 turns. Each turn is roughly 2 days of time. So, the first immediate victory, let's say, for the Confederate is whether if they occupy 1 hex of Washington with a force with at least 8 brigades. So it's enough for them to occupy 1 hex of Washington, and they will win automatically. Alternatively, if both Baltimore and Harrisburg are occupied, so you have Baltimore here, and I would need to find Harrisburg. I don't have it handy, but yeah, those two towns, if they are occupied with a force, and force has at least 8 brigades, so they are able to control it. Oh, here is the Harrisburg, Baltimore. Then they also win automatically. So the first condition: 1 hex of Washington with at least 8 brigades, or both hexes of Baltimore and Harrisburg with at least 8 brigades. Then, what we have then? A second condition is with attrition. We will be tracking, and I have it here somewhere. Here it is. With those markers, we will be tracking how many brigades were destroyed. If Confederates destroy at least 12 brigades of Union, and their losses are half of this or less, so like 12 to 6, 12 to 5, they also automatically win. All other results at the end of the 18th turn will be the victory of Union, with one exception. There is also an economical way of winning the war. How to win economically is by Confederate player moving the baggage trains south. Here we have baggage trains. You can see them, set up. These are unloaded and these are loaded. And they will be moving them south, and they need to have at least, which they manage to pillage and move to the south. So, control of Washington, Harrisburg, and Baltimore. Washington or Baltimore and Harrisburg. Enough losses, or pillaging of the supplies and of the terrain. So there are 3 ways for the Confederates to win, and of course this campaign of Gettysburg was, let's say, their attack to the north. So they have those tasks to fulfill, and if they do not manage to do it, the Union will win. Yep. On the map, as you can see, we have the railroads, we have main roads, we have town and cities, we have big rivers, and we have also the small rivers and mountains. Mountains can be crossed only via roads, and impassable, sea hexes. The game plays pretty quickly, and as I told you, there is not too many units on the map. So it goes pretty quickly. In the setup, you will put the units here. Then, according to the rule book, you will set up the initial orders for Confederate and initial orders for the Union. You will write them down, and then you start execute the movement. You will try to influence the initial orders with your commanders, because sometimes you can see that you plan something and your opponent plans something, and it's not necessarily, the best response from you. What I really like in this game is this, delayed orders. You are giving the order, it is being executed by your force, but suddenly you see, okay, it's not a good order anymore. Let's do something about it. Let's change it. And yeah, really, this could be very interesting mechanic. That will be all for today. I wanted to briefly present to you a full measure of devotion, game by Stephen Paul from Strategemata, a Polish, publisher. I think it's really interesting design, especially I like, the delayed orders mechanic. The low counter intensity should also be fun. We have just at the beginning five forces of Confederates and like 8 forces of the Union on the map, so it's not very dense and you can really quickly play it. I will definitely be providing more insights and more input about the games of US Civil War. This is not the first which I'm presenting from this publisher, and hopefully you will find this interesting and innovative as a system. That's all for today. If you liked this video, do not hesitate, give a thumbs up. If you like to see more content like this, I kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel. That's all for today. Thank you and bye.